Y'all, the entire narrative is completely and totally collapsing. This is going up faster than all the buildings in Iran right now. I'm going to walk you through how the Democrats' new narratives that they've walked through is apparently just imploding, literally falling out from under them, building kingdoms on piles of sand, as it were. This is going to be one you need to send out. This is going to be a backhand, and it's a harbinger of things to come. As we get into this, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. Between fighting the Democrats and the liberals for their talking points and the woke right, or the Republicans, as you would call it, we're kind of busy. We'd love your reinforcement. Okay, here we go. You can follow me on X at Braden LOA if you'd like. Let's just jump right into this. Remember that whole narrative about, there was no imminent threat, and this is an illegal action, and this is an illegal war? Well, it really is kind of a kick in the balls to that narrative when NATO says that Iran had a threat. Okay, maybe I'll just let him play it. Watch this.
Answering that question, of course, NATO is not itself involved, but let's be absolutely clear-eyed to what's happening here. Iran is close to getting its hands on a nuclear capability and on a ballistic missile capability, which is posing a threat not only to the region, the Middle East, including posing an existential threat to Israel. It is also posing a huge threat to us here in Europe.
So the Iranians, maybe we need to go big for this, because I'm just going to unleash the full spice, because I'm so sick of the propaganda and lies. It is truly insane. So they were threatening not only our ally Israel in the Middle East, they were, and by the way, I said the word Israel. And then they were also threatening our allies in NATO. Well, that's a bunch of problems. They've also guaranteed to kill us, the great Satan America, and to wipe Israel off the map, our allies, and they're bombing everybody in the region around them. But they were not a threat to you guys, so obviously Donald Trump was illegal. NATO just came out and said everything that the administration said. NATO is no fan of Donald Trump. Let us continue, because I swear to God, these lefties and Republicans are just insane. Okay, here we go. Here's Mark Wayne Mullen. Listen to what is a senator from Oklahoma. Listen to what he says. It's the funniest thing about this whole hypocrisy thing that the Democrats keep doing about Obama and bombing things. It just keeps on popping up. These people think we don't have cameras.
Thank you, Chairman. I just feel like I need to respond to some things the senator was bringing up by accusing the president of pulling out of a nuclear deal in his first term. It was a horrible deal. It was a disastrous deal. It was a deal that we all know that would originally allow Iran to be able to have enrichment to the grade that they could make a nuclear weapon. And then for the senator that was saying that the president needs to come back for reauthorization, I don't remember him saying anything in 2016 when Barack Obama at the time dropped 26,000 bombs in Syria, Pakistan, Libya, just to name a few. And I definitely don't remember my colleagues in 2013 at all complaining about the president then Barack Obama, going into Syria. And I would like to ask the question then, what threat did Syria have to the United States? What threat did Libya have to the United States during the Arab Spring, to which these leaders were removed? And then I would ask the question, what threat did Iran have to us? Do we really need to talk about it? Do we need to talk about how many times they've killed thousands of Americans since 1979? From the first...
Get rocked, lefties. Because, honest to God, find new talking points. Find new ways to justify that Trump is the great Satan, okay? Because you've done it for decades now. Obama literally dropped, what did he say, 27,000 bombs? So spare me your crocodile tears on illegality. Again, excellent question. What threat did Libya serve to the United States? What threat did Pakistan serve the United States? All these different places. It's just wild. It's just wild. But don't take my word for it. Let's go back and look at some Democrats here, because maybe we can find some guidance from their past when they had some semblance of something. I mean, like, watch this.
And I want the Iranians to know that if I'm the president, we will attack Iran. Whatever stage of development they might be in their nuclear weapons program in the next 10 years, during which they might foolishly consider launching an attack on Israel, we would be able to totally obliterate them. That's a terrible thing to say, but those people who run Iran need to understand that, because that perhaps will deter them from doing something that would be reckless, foolish, and tragic.
Well, that must have been back when it was okay to say Israel's an ally on the Democrat Party. Anyway, let's keep on trucking. Maybe we can look to another bright, shining light of female empowerment on the Democratic Party side. This is Nancy Pelosi talking about the same things that Mark Wayne Mullen was just talking about with Obama. Maybe she has some enlightenment for us. And then I'll get to what they're saying now. It's bonkers, the hypocrisy.
So, Madam Speaker, or Madam Leader, you're saying that the president did not need authorization initially and still does not need any authorization from Congress on Libya?
Yes.
Thank you, folks.
Thanks, Nance. Let's keep on trucking, because it's the weirdest thing. I mean, Marco Rubio, I swear, you got to have a certain level of, like, just patience. I beyond patience to deal with these reporters, because these reporters, I mean, I get frazzled with them. I couldn't imagine being in an administration. Goodness gracious. So, I'm going to play you what he says here, but this is, your local leftist. The Constitution does not require the president to notify Congress. It requires the president to get permission for Congress. Again, my God, they have 60 or 90 days to go forward and take their actions before Congress, before they have to do it. So that's the first thing about just them being wrong. And Marco Rubio is about to do it too excellently well. Quite exquisite. A fine wine, if I must say so myself. But then the other side of it, which I can just never get beyond, is when leftoids who are always trying to take your rights, whether they be speech rights, whether they be Second Amendment rights, whether they be your Fourth Amendment rights, any of the rights that they want to violate and trample. Oh my God, it's for an emergency because we're afraid and we're scared, and it's for the safety of the people so you can't have any rights. That's fine. But when it comes to the actual rules of Congress and the rules of the presidency, then it's, you better obey the Constitution, mister. Watch this. Marco Rubio. This is exquisite.
Why not notify Congress ahead of this, and does Congress...
Well, we did. We notified Congress. I mean, we notified the Gang of Eight. We notified congressional leadership. There's no law that requires us to do that. The law says we have to notify them 48 hours after beginning hostilities. We've done that. I think the notification went today. But we did notify members of Congress in advance. But we can't notify 535 members of Congress.
Vote to authorize the law.
Well, the Congress can vote on whatever they want, but there's no law that requires us to do that. And I want to say something, because I see people on TV. Look, that's fine. If they want to take a war powers vote, they can do that. They've done that. They've done that a bunch of times. But people keep saying that there's no law that requires the president to have done anything with regards to this. To begin with, no presidential administration has ever accepted the War Powers Act as constitutional. Not Republican presidents, not Democratic presidents. That said, we have followed the notification at 48 hours. We're here today. I've done more Gang of Eight briefings than I got in the 4 years that Biden was president and I was a member of the Gang of Eight. All of that said, we've complied with the law 100%. And we're going to continue to comply with it. We've done the notification, and we officially to Congress, but we did notify members of Congress. We just can't notify 535 people. That's not possible, but we did the Gang of Eight twice. I briefed them last week, and then I called them the night before the operation.
Why not notify...
Get wrecked, you journalistic bucket carriers of all Democratic water. We did notify him. We did it twice. And then we also notified the Democratic leadership as well as congressional leadership. So Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries knew the whole time, and 8 senators also knew? So that whole narrative of you never told Congress kind of just evaporates out of nowhere? Isn't that amazing how that works? Again, I'm going somewhere with this in this video because the hypocrisy and the idiocy of their positions right now are absolutely moronic. But, let's just keep on going. Maybe I'll work in sophomoric in a moment. All right, here's Adam Schiff. Again, the comedy of this man talking about constitutionality when the man is a walking infringement of anything constitutional. It's called the Constitution. And he's responding to Secretary Rubio that says Congress can vote on whatever it wants, but there's no law requiring authorization for this action. The Constitution does not say that. But don't worry, we're going to get another one. This is what their line is. I'm showing you all these things in this order because it is genuinely comical when you look back at their previous stances on all of this, and then magically it's different when it's Donald Trump. That's the point. Nothing has changed. The only thing that's changed is the person in office is Donald Trump, not Barack Obama. That's the only thing that changed. Watch.
Congress is very weak and powerless because the president has already chosen to violate the Constitution. The Constitution says it is up to Congress to declare war. This is an unconstitutional violation that leads us in a situation where we're saying, look, Trump took the power of the purse, he took the power of taxation, now the power of war, all things dedicated to Congress in our Constitution. Do we have a Constitution that means anything anymore? Congress.
Well, there's a few emotional buzzwords in there that have no basis in reality. Like, literally, none of that what he just said made any sense, especially coming from one of the bureaucratic swamp monsters in D.C., who they literally have spent the last 30 years in Congress completely relegating their responsibilities over to the executive bureaucratic side of the government because they don't want to get unelected. Don't give me the crap about their losing power. Oh God, it's so just asinine. Anyway, here's Tim Kaine getting smoked on CNBC. This is always for a good time. Watch this.
Any president can take self-defense, but to wage offensive war, the framers of the Constitution were absolutely plain. It's been understood since 1787. You got to come to Congress. That doesn't mean every president has, and it certainly doesn't mean that every Congress has guarded that prerogative. But I've always pledged that I would.
Right, okay. But it's almost a moot point. He's at least has probably 60 days under certain provisions to carry things out. And if we did go your route, Senator, what's happened over the past 3 days is impossible. It could never happen. Even informing Congress at times about certain raids or actions that have to be done in secret, that's not, in the real world, it's not possible. So in the real world,
Joe,
but is this going to be a good?
You say
but is it possible?
Okay, that's the point. In the real world, it doesn't make sense what you're asking. By the way, you're not going to get the War Powers Act to do anything. You're not going to get enough votes to get it passed. This is all to get people on record to use and weaponize in the midterms. This is where I get back to my entire point. They've done all of this numerous times, multiple times under the Obama presidency. The Obama administration dropped 27,000 bombs in multiple different countries, and these same people didn't say shit. But now all of a sudden, they're going to try to do a War Powers Act to rein in the executive branch for doing the same thing they didn't say anything about Obama doing. And then they're going to try to weaponize it because they know it's going to fail. This entire thing is a game. These politicians are just that. They're politicians. And these Democrats are walking in the exact same problem they have with Venezuela, and they stop talking about that real quick. But what do I know? I'm just a guy on the internet. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll see you in the next one. I'm Braden. Later.